Faith is the heartbeat of humanity, the invisible force that gives purpose, direction, and moral strength to our lives. When faith weakens, the foundation of both the individual and the society begins to tremble. The loss of faith is not just a personal crisis. It becomes a collective tragedy. It erodes character, corrupts the soul, and tears apart the fabric of human values that once held communities together. When the fear of God disappears from the heart, man begins to feel free from accountability. He forgets that there is a power above him watching every action and every thought. The awareness that God sees what no one else sees, that he knows what lies hidden behind smiles and words, is what keeps a believer pure and truthful. But when this awareness dies, dishonesty takes root. Lies become acceptable, promises lose meaning, and the world becomes filled with deceit, disguised as intelligence. Without faith, the conscience falls silent. The heart that once trembled at wrongdoing becomes hardened. People cheat not only others, but also themselves, thinking that wealth, fame, or power will fill the emptiness within. Yet no amount of gain can heal a faithless soul. It remains restless, confused, and lost, wandering from one illusion to another. Look at the world today. People are richer but more unhappy, connected but more lonely, informed but more directionless. This is the mark of a generation that has forgotten faith. The absence of faith removes the inner restraint that once stopped man from doing evil. When there is no fear of God, sin becomes entertainment, modesty becomes weakness, and morality becomes a matter of opinion rather than divine truth. The decay begins quietly, first within the individual, then within families, and finally across nations. A man without faith cannot build a faithful family. A family without faith cannot raise a righteous generation. And a nation without faith cannot stand upon justice. The root of every social problem, corruption, immorality, betrayal, oppression, lies in the loss of faith and the absence of the fear of God. Once, faith made families sacred. It taught husbands to be protectors, wives to be nurturers, and children to be respectful. Today, homes are filled with arguments, mistrust, and disconnection. Parents are too busy for children, and children are too distracted for parents. The spiritual warmth that once filled homes has turned cold because faith, the true spirit of unity, is missing. And what happens when faith leaves society? The strong begin to exploit the weak. Justice becomes a tool of the powerful instead of a shield for the innocent. Leaders lose integrity, teachers lose sincerity, and businessmen lose honesty. The world starts running not on principles but on profit. Moral decay spreads faster than disease, infecting every institution, from schools to governments, from marketplaces to homes. Even knowledge, when separated from faith, turns dangerous. Science without morality becomes a weapon. Progress without divine purpose becomes destruction. Technology may give man power, but without the fear of God, that power is misused. History shows us that every civilization which lost faith eventually collapsed. Not because of enemies from outside, but because of emptiness from within. Their fall began when they no longer believed that they would be judged for their actions. But faith, true faith, brings life to hearts again. It teaches man to be humble in power, honest in trade, kind in relationships, and patient in trials. Faith reminds us that life is temporary, but accountability is eternal. It teaches that no sin is hidden, no deed is wasted, and no good act goes unrewarded. The fear of God keeps man from falling into arrogance, because he knows that everything he owns, everything he is, comes from God. Without this understanding, even success becomes meaningless. People chase fame, wealth, and comfort, yet remain spiritually bankrupt. They smile in public but cry in silence, for the soul cannot survive without faith. Faith is like oxygen, unseen but vital. When it leaves, everything begins to die. First the heart, then the home, then the world. Today's world doesn't need more wealth or inventions. It needs revival of faith. The cure for corruption is not policy, but piety. The solution to injustice is not force, but fear of God. The only way to heal moral decay is to bring back the belief that we are accountable to the Almighty. Once the heart begins to tremble in awe of its Creator, The hand stops doing wrong, the tongue stops lying, and the eyes lower in humility. Faith restores peace where fear once ruled. It rebuilds families on love and trust. It reconnects neighbors, heals communities, and revives nations. Faith is not a choice among many. It is the foundation upon which all goodness stands. Without it, the tallest civilization collapses. With it, even the smallest act of kindness becomes eternal. So let every listener ask, where is my faith? Have I kept it alive, or have I buried it beneath the noise of the world? Because the world's decay begins when one heart loses faith, and the world's healing begins when one heart rediscovers it. Faith with the fear of God is the only shield that can save humanity from its own destruction. Without it, we are a body without a soul, moving, yet spiritually dead.